now reconvene the regular meeting of Board of Education at 6 p.m. with Cervantes, Cruz, Smith, and Shaw present. Before we begin, please silence all electronic devices and note that these proceedings are being recorded. Mrs. Pat?
The board met in closed session from 4:04 p.m. to 5:39 p.m. regarding conference with legal counsel existing litigation, 5 cases, conference with legal counsel anticipated litigation, 4 possible cases, student discipline matters, conference with labor negotiators, ACT CSEA negotiations, public employee appointments, high school principal, coordinator risk management, coordinator child welfare and attendance, and public employee discipline dismissal release. The board took the following action. Approved a settlement agreement to resolve OAH case number 202-504-0116, not to exceed $104,665, dismissal with prejudice of the OAH case, and a waiver of claims raised in OAH filing. The roll call vote was as follows. Cervantes, Cruz, Smith voting yes, and Shaun no. By a vote of 5-0 with Cervantes, Cruz, Smith, and Shaw voting yes, appointed James Newcomb as principal of Buena Vista High School, effective date to be determined. Appointed Stephen Kessler as coordinator of security and risk management, effective date to be determined. And appointed Anne Marie Jahan as coordinator of child welfare and attendance, effective date to be determined. No further action was taken, which requires public disclosure.
Thank you, Ms. Kaler. And can I have Amanda? Can you please lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And now we're on to staff report. Next, we'll hear the staff report.
Good evening, President Shaw, members of the board, Superintendent Enfield, Cabinet, and community. This report to the board this evening is on the Essential Standards Assessments and Smarter Balance Assessment results. In Chino Valley, our essential standards are the driving force for organizing a guaranteed and viable curriculum. It's not everything that we teach, but it is our guarantee that no matter which school a student attends, we will ensure our students are learning those essentials at high levels. It's also viable in that because we have only 10 to 12 essential standards for each grade level or course, we can pace them out in such a manner that we can intervene when necessary to ensure our promise again to our students and their families that they will learn the essentials at high levels. We are able to monitor students' learning on these essentials by checking their progress on the local essential standards assessments in ELA and math, which are given 3 times a year. Additionally, students in grades 3 through 8 and 11 are assessed annually on the Smarter Balanced assessments. Though the state test covers more than just the essentials, we know that if we teach the essential standards at high levels, the state test will take care of itself. This evening's report will cover our progress on the essential standards assessments and the Smarter Balanced assessment results. First, let's take a look at the results for Chino Valley on the Smarter Balanced assessments, which provide information about students' current level of achievement in English language arts and math, indicating whether they are meeting the Common Core state standards. One way to look at student achievement on the Smarter Balanced assessment results is by examining the percent of students scoring met or exceeded from year to year. Here, we see 3 years of ELA data for Chino Valley Unified students and their performance by grade level. As indicated by the green, 4 of the 7 grade levels increased from 2024 to 2025, including our grade 6 students who have demonstrated the largest growth of almost 5.5% over the course of 3 years. We are making progress, but as you can see, there are still opportunities for growth. Here is a snapshot of our Chino Valley Unified student achievement in English language arts over the past 2 years. The data is shown from 2 different types of assessments, the first being the Essential Standards Assessments, or ESAs, and the second being the Smarter Balanced Assessments, or SBA. While our ESAs are administered 3 times a year, one in fall, winter, and spring, for the purposes of this comparison, we will only look at ESA number 3 data over 2 years. The percentages shown are the percent of students scoring met or exceeded by grade level on the Smarter Balanced assessments, and the Essential Standards Assessments number 3, which is taken annually in the spring. The first column shows each grade level. Column 2 shows the percent of students scoring met or exceeded on the ESA 3 in the 2023-2024 school year. The third column shows the percent of students scoring met or exceeded on the 23-24 Smarter Balanced assessments at the tested grade levels, grades 3 through 8 and 11. The fourth column shows ESA number 3 data for the 2024-2025 school year. And the final column displays the Smarter Balanced assessment data from the 24-25 school year, again, only at the tested grade levels, grades 3 through 8 and 11. In looking at the data, keep in mind that while ESAs assess each of the grade or course level essential standards, the Smarter Balanced assessments assess a greater breadth of the standards. There are a couple different ways in which we can analyze the data. One way we can analyze the data is from ESA 3 in 1 year to ESA 3 the next year. For example, in 23-24, 61.5% of grade 1 students scored met or exceeded on ESA 3. The following year, 63.6% of grade 1 students scored met or exceeded on the ESA 3. When we look at the data this way, 7 grade levels increased in performance from ESA 3 in 23-24 to 24-25. Another way we can analyze the data is by comparing our 24-25 ESA 3 to our Smarter Balanced assessment results in that same year. I'll draw your attention to the last 2 columns. This is the same group of students in the same year. We'll look at grade 11 for our example. On the 24-25 ESA 3, there were 64.2% of students scoring met or exceeded, And that same group of students, just a couple of months later, took the Smarter Balanced assessment, and 65.46% scored met or exceeded, showing an increase. When we examine ESA data and Smarter Balanced assessment data in the same year, we can see that there's a strong correlation between how our students are scoring on the ESA and the state summative assessments. As a reminder, the Smarter Balanced assessments cover more standards than what is covered on our ESAs. And our final set of ELA data that we will examine is Essential Standards Assessment 1, or ESA 1 from last year, 24-25, as compared to ESA 1 this school year, 25-26. ESA 1 is administered within the first couple weeks of school with little to no instruction. I will point out that for ESA 1 in 25-26, at the top of the column, you will see that the reporting of percent met and percent exceeded is now changed to percent advanced, percent proficient, which aligns with how students' end-of-year CASP levels for the 25-26 school year will be reported, but these are essentially the same. When we take a look at ESA 1 data comparing last year to this year, we can see that students are beginning each grade level stronger than they did the previous year. The percentages shown in green indicate by grade level that those increased from 24-25 to 25-26. Out of 13 grade levels, 10 showed gains. Additionally, if we examine a cohort looking at the same group of students from one year to the next, students are starting the year stronger, again with little to no instruction. For example, if we look at grade 8, the students in 24-25, 50.9% of students scored met or exceeded on the ESA 1. In 25-26, those same students who are current 9th graders, 59.7% of those students scored advanced proficient. When we look at the data by looking at cohorts, 9 of 12 grade levels showed gains. This demonstrates that the emphasis on essential standards is effective. Now let's take a look at how our students are progressing in math. Here is the Smarter Balanced assessment data over the course of 3 years. In math, we see 4 out of 7 grade levels increase in performance from 2024 to 2025, as indicated by the percentages in green. This includes grade 6 and grade 11, increasing over 4% in the last 3 years. On this slide, we see the ESA 3 data in 23-24 and 24-25, as well as the Smarter Balanced assessment math results in those same years. Again, this is the same type of data that we examined earlier with English Language Arts, but now the focus is math. The first column shows each grade or course. When we look at our ESA 3 from 23-24 and compare to ESA 3 in 24-25, 10 out of 12 grades or courses increased in the percent of students scoring met or exceeded over the year. The ESA and Smarter Balanced assessment data for math indicate that students are leaving our system stronger academically than they have in years past. And while we do see growth in ESA 3 scores, as well as overall with the district, math continues to be an area of need. Here we see a 2-year comparison for our ESA 1 math data. The percentages shown in green indicate by grade level or course those that increased from 24-25 to 25-26. Out of 14 groups of students, 11 showed gains. Additionally, if we examine the data by cohort, again, the same groups of students over time, for this example, we will look at 6th grade. Our 6th grade students in 24-25 scored 44.4% met or exceeded. The following year, that same group of students scored 53.1% advanced proficient on ESA 1 at the beginning of grade 7. Looking at this data by cohorts, we see growth in numerous grade levels and courses. This chart represents Chino Valley's overall student achievement as a district on the Smarter Balanced assessments in the years 2023, 2024, and 2025. In 2025, 62.12% of students scored met or exceeded in language arts, and 49.79% of students scored met or exceeded in mathematics. The steady growth in student achievement year after year on the Smarter Balanced assessments shows that when we focus on the essential standards, the end of the year test takes care of itself. I want to highlight that through our continuous improvement efforts, Chino Valley continues to distinguish itself as a leader in student achievement among unified school districts in our county. In 2025, in Chino Valley, again, 62.12% of our students scored met or exceeded in English language arts, and 49.79% met or exceeded in math. The unified school district with the next highest performance in our county is at 54.79% for ELA and 40.40% for math. Over 7% below our performance in ELA and over 9% below our performance in math. Because of our consistent engagement in a continuous improvement cycle, focusing on the right things, we have seen steady incremental growth and continue to surpass county and state student achievement on the Smarter Balanced assessments. From examining our Essential Standards assessments and Smarter Balanced assessments results over the last 3 years, here are some key takeaways. We continue to see a strong correlation between our ESAs and Smarter Balanced assessments. The data shows that students are entering the next grade level more prepared, as well as leaving our system stronger academically. Again, that steady incremental growth that our students are making speaks to our district's continuous cycle of improvement and focus on the right work. I'm excited to highlight that based on state testing results, CVUSD was recently recognized for improving outcomes for historically underserved student populations, including but not limited to socioeconomically disadvantaged students, meaning we are closing achievement gaps. And while we always want to take time to celebrate the great progress of our students, as well as the hard work of our teachers, there is still more work to be done in order to ensure that all of our students thrive. This concludes the update to the board on the Essential Standards in California Smarter Balanced assessment results.
Thank you for that. Board, do you have any comments, questions? Press your button. It should be live.
Ready? Okay. I was noticing entering the next grade level even more prepared. Have you noticed it's linear? A lot of school districts, you get this jaggedness. So kids are learning, they're better writers, they're doing math year after year. And you're closing the gap like you stated. And the question is, what's contributing to this amazing job?
Sure, we have many practices in place, but first and foremost, our areas of emphasis. As you know, we have 3 areas of emphasis, starting with our essential standards. So I've shared that during our presentation today. So focusing on those essential standards and teaching them at high levels. We also ensure that our teachers are meeting with the PLC process so that work together as collaborative teams to really focus on those essential standards, build units that look at conceptual understanding for math specifically, and looking at the rigor for students to ensure that we are working together to ensure all students learn at high levels. And third, our student engagement is an area of focus for us, and to ensure that, as we know, whoever's doing the talking is doing the learning. So the more that we have students talking, we know that they're learning at higher levels.
Yes, and Dr. Enfield, parents want excellent schools and excellent real estate value. So good job, good job. Thank you.
Mr. Knott, go ahead.
Yeah, I would like to thank our hardworking teachers and proud of our students that every year that you have shown progress, and our school district is well known in our region as #1 for reason. So again, thank you so much for our teachers and our staff members and hardworking students that going through daily obstacles, but not forgetting your future goal, and that is an education. And thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes, I do want to thank you guys and thank our teachers and staff for ensuring that our kids are leading the way, not only in our county, but in the state. Of course, I mean, just as a parent, if I were to look at this, I just want to point something out. Math, that is an area that we are still pretty high considering California. Unfortunately, I don't like, the scores in general in California, but as speaking with Dr. Enfield, it's like that around the nation. I just really hope that people come together to figure it out, because I'm not a big fan of Common Core math, and I think that needs to be fixed because, again, with reading, writing, and math, despite the obstacles that sometimes the state poses, I think being in over 60 percentile is a really good thing, especially here. So thank you guys for leading the way. And even in math, I mean, again, I want to point out that the scores look horrifying, but in comparison to everybody else, we are leading the way. So thank you for all that you guys do. Thank our teachers for everything. And I definitely am supportive of all the in-house trainings and everything that you guys pour into it. Because again, when I sat with Dr. Enfield when I first came in, it was like, what do you need the board support in? And it was that. And I see the results because of it. So I do want to thank you guys. Mr. Smith, hold on. Okay.
Thank you so much for gathering this data. It's very useful and helpful in terms of determining where we're going, seeing the path. Do we have any previous year data to compare this against?
We do. I don't have that prepared for today, but we did start our essential standards assessments in previous years. There were times during COVID, though, that we do not have state data.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, so that would drop off pretty quickly there. But it would be nice. And I like how we can track, grade 1 as they go into grade 2 and as they go into grade 3 and so on. That's excellent. Thank you very much for this data. It's fantastic.
Okay. Seeing that there's nothing else, thank you again. And we're now on to our comments from our awesome student representative, Phoenix.
Good evening, Board President Shaw, members of the board, Superintendent Enfield, and distinguished guests. Firstly, IALA is preparing for their final reports, which is a long-standing tradition where students share memories about seniors and other classmates. Additionally, they recently held their Formula One themed rally last Friday, where they saw attendance from Diamond Bar as well as their leadership team. IALA's leadership team has also been working every day in previous weeks to prepare. Currently, Chino is entering a slower period as the break approaches, but they recently completed a successful homecoming game, dance, and spirit week. The leadership students supported all senior nights and helped manage student turnout at CIF events for multiple sports. Their Intro to Leadership class also raised funds to bring a Kona ice truck for academic award recipients, turning it into a celebratory rally. Right now, they're planning for a cozy winter-themed Spirit Week before the December winter break. Additionally, Don Lugo recently hosted an outdoor Halloween-themed rally that saw strong participation and great performances. Decorations, costumes, and student engagement made it one of their stronger rallies this year. They're currently planning Thanksgiving activities, including a gratitude wall and a potential pre-break fundraiser before shifting toward their Christmas-themed events. Finally, Chino's football team has been finding success in CIF with strong student support at recent games and the CIF semifinal being hosted at home tomorrow on Friday and soon to be CIF champs. We held the philanthropic Depop Day yesterday and today, which is a clothing donation event that promoted upcycling, with remaining clothes being sent to shelters. Recent activities include rally preparations for our upcoming rally, a Renaissance luncheon where students and teachers celebrate and acknowledge outstanding students across their classes, a Lean Crew freshman tailgate to foster a welcoming environment before football games, and the Renaissance Fall Festival where clubs and programs are able to demonstrate their work, host small activities, and bring interest among students. Our band program has also been very active, hosting a competition called Harmony in the Hills, where we placed first, as well as the district showcase. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you, Phoenix. Go Huskies. Next up are comments from employee representatives. Stephen Frazier, ACT. Okay.
There we go. All right, good evening, school board, superintendent, and cabinet. My name is Sarah Palmer. I'm the secretary of Associated Chino Teachers, and I'm here tonight to deliver remarks on behalf of our president, Stephen Frazier, who is not able to attend tonight. First, I want to acknowledge the work highlighted in tonight's staff report on essential standards and our Smarter Balance assessment results. ACT recognizes the district's commitment to student achievement, and we're proud that our teachers are at the heart of that work every single day. Our educators are dedicated to providing the high-quality instruction that every student in CVUSD deserves. Tonight, the board will hear ACT's initial bargaining proposal for our contract reopener. We're optimistic about the upcoming negotiations and look forward to working collaboratively with the district to reach an agreement that supports both our teachers and our students. We believe in the power of partnership, and we're committed to approaching these discussions in good faith. There is another matter I'd like to bring to the board's attention this evening, one that requires all of us working together. We're witnessing a concerning rise in injuries to teachers across many of our school sites due to student behavioral outbursts. Our educators are experiencing physical harm, including being hit, bitten, and injured during these incidents. These situations not only put our staff at risk, but also disrupt the learning environment for all students in the classroom. ACT wants to be clear, we're not here to point fingers or place blame. We're here to ask for partnership. Our teachers want to serve every student effectively and safely, but we need your help to make that possible. We believe that together, ACT and the district, we can develop meaningful solutions. Specifically, we're asking the board to work with us to explore increased support staff in our classrooms, updated safety protocols that protect both staff and students, and enhanced administrative supervision on our campuses, including a return to full-time assistant principals at all sites. These measures will help us ensure that learning can continue without disruption and that every member of our school community feels safe. This is an opportunity for collaboration. Our teachers are ready to be part of this solution, and we hope the district will join us at the table and problem solve together. On a more positive note, ACT is excited to announce our upcoming food and toy drive, which we're partnering with CSEA. This is a wonderful opportunity for our entire district community to come together and support families in need during the holiday season. We welcome the board's help in promoting this event through the district, and we'll be providing you with flyers tonight that you can share with your network. It's efforts like these that remind us we're all working toward the same goal, the well-being of our students and our community. Before I close, on behalf of Stephen and all the members of Associated Chino Teachers, I want to wish each and every one of you and your families a wonderful Thanksgiving. We're grateful for this community and for the chance to work together for the benefit of our students. Thank you.
Thank you. We're now on to public comments. Pat, how many requests to speak?
23.
Thank you. Do you have your 2 minutes? That gives each public comment 2 minutes. Board bylaw 9323, meeting conduct establishes the guidelines and the following process applies. Speakers will be called in the order you registered on the electronic request to speak device. Names are displayed on the monitors. Please watch for your name and appear and line up at the designated numbers behind the mic. You'll see circles where it says 1, 2, and 3. So please line up there. Once the recording secretary announces the first name, request to speak will no longer be accepted. Additionally, Government Code 54957.9 authorizes removal of an individual or group when a meeting is fully interrupted and order cannot be restored. Further, Penal Code 403 states in part, every person who without authority of law willfully disturbs or breaks up any lawful assembly or meeting not unlawful in its character is guilty of a misdemeanor. And Mr. Cruz, can you please explain the public comment guidelines?
Speakers, you have 3 minutes to address the board. You cannot donate your time, one person at the mic at a time. If you read on behalf of an absent person, that will be considered your time. Begin comments when the clock starts. Please refer to Board Policy 1312.1 for the procedure regarding complaints against an employee. And lastly, speakers may not approach the dais at any time the board is in session. Please give any materials you wish distributed to the board to the recording secretary.
Sarah Omari on a consent item.
Before I begin, I just want to check for understanding because there was a discrepancy in time. So I'm not speaking on my comment yet. Ms. Shaw, you said we had 2 minutes. Mr. Cruz, you said we had 3. Which one is it?
He said up to.
So it's 2 minutes.
Yeah, so I just want to check for that. So if we can begin the clock and I actually begin my comment. I haven't began my comment. I wanted to check for understanding.
Can you please restart the clock?
Thank you. I want to address an issue from the last meeting regarding board member Shaun Smith's decision to vote no on receiving compensation for a missed meeting. While this may have been intended as a display of personal ethics, it actually highlighted a misunderstanding of both Robert's Rules of Order and basic governance practice. Under Robert's Rules, when a board member has a direct financial interest in an item, the proper action is to abstain entirely, not vote yes or no. Because Mr. Smith had an economic interest in that item, participation in the vote was inappropriate. When we pair this with your own Board Policy 9400, which lays out expectations for ethical conduct, it becomes clear that this board is not consistently adhering to its own governance standards. And frankly, this may help explain why the district continues to face numerous lawsuits and continues to lose most of them. When leaders ignore foundational procedures, the result is predictable, costly mistakes rooted in arrogance and ignorance at the taxpayer's expense. Additionally, I want to address the comments made by John Cervantes regarding Penal Code 403. The official minutes state that he said the board may pursue charges under this provision if members of the public act out. But a review of his actual remarks shows that he stated emphatically and quite dramatically that the board will pursue such action. The tone and phrasing appear threatening. Maybe, Mr. Cervantes, you should brush up on Penal Code 288A since your buddy, SRO Matt Solano, actually victimized a minor. You can let the public know how this board is planning to mitigate the incidents of inappropriate relations with minors. You protect and serve though, right? Anyways, this discrepancy between what was said and what was recorded raises serious concerns about bias in the minutes, and paired with the threatening nature of the statement, reinforces a troubling pattern. A board that seems willing to use policy not as a neutral guide, but as a tool to intimidate and manipulate the public. These issues collectively demonstrate a board struggling with ethical standards, procedural knowledge, and transparent governance. We're still waiting on an explanation on why Mr. Smith's current employment was redacted from his resume. Transparency though, right? Anyway, our community deserves better, fair, competent, and accountable leadership that respects both the rules and the people they serve. You do neither.
Amanda Swagger.
I had 2 public comments. I had
On
on
consent.
2 different.
Your
on-
consent is 1. You do, you have a non-agenda, one consent and one non-agenda. Amanda Swagger?
Speakers, can you please line up on 1 and 2 at least, if you see your name on the screen?
Is the mic on? Good evening, Dr. Enfield, Board, Cabinet. A couple of days ago, a verbal altercation with several students led to a physical altercation. One of those students was a member of my class, and I found out because approximately 15 students showed me a video on their phone. The video was airdropped between student to student, showing the gruesome altercation between the two individuals. Cell phones are a problem in our school today. Students are distracted by them. They become a fuel for violence, and they become a fuel for everything that takes kids away from what they're in school for, is learning. Games like Clash Royale lead to physical altercations in classrooms where a teacher asks a student to put a phone away, but yet I'm beating my friend in another class. Students use phones to coordinate coffee runs and even trips to the bathroom, where they share illegal substances among each other, hidden in bathroom stalls like nicotine and marijuana vapes. The problem is when we take phones away, there's little governance in actually supporting the teachers. I had 2 students that I sent up for open defiance this week for cell phone violations. They were sent up to office, their parent was called, they kept their phone, and they were off to the next class. What kind of authority do I have to teach my class and take away from cell phones if there's no true support across the district for these policies? It's simple. Bring back Saturday school. Bring back Friday work study. Bring back real consequences for people with cell phones. This isn't going to get better if we don't take a stand. California's going to do it next year. Why don't we start now? Thank you.
Sarah P. on a non-agenda item.
I'm speaking for a community member that wasn't able to be here tonight. I'd like to address several misconceptions raised by Ms. Shaw regarding the GSA Club, its funding, operations, and activities. The GSA receives no outside funding, just like the Christian Club. It is entirely student-run, and advisors only assist with paperwork and supervision. Any claim that adults direct the club is false and would violate district policy. All field trips require principal approval and parent permission slips. GSA students have never attended a drag show or Pride Festival through the school. The only recent trip involved 2 officers participating in the Los Angeles AIDS Walk, a routine community service event. Student clubs may run their own social media pages. Board Policy AR1114 makes clear these pages are not district platforms and advisors do not control them. The only canceled trip was a blood donation event at the Pomona Pride Center. It was not a Pride celebration. Canceling it prevented 15 students from donating blood, costing 45 people life-saving donations, and singled out the GSA unfairly. To be clear, no drag queens have been invited, no drag show fundraisers proposed, and there is no district paperwork to support these accusations. Teachers and students are not political villains. We are educators committed to providing a safe, supportive environment for all students. Thank you.
Rosa Belmont, non-agenda item.
Hello, my name is Rosa Belmont. I'm here representing Amigo, a 501c3 nonprofit organization based in LA with facilities around the Inland Empire. Amigo supports immigrant families by creating clearer pathways towards citizenship. We are here today to show our support for ACT because they have consistently shown that they care for their immigrant communities in this district. This issue is personal to me. I am a first-generation student who was born and raised in Chino. My siblings and I all went to Chino High School. My sister graduated in 2008, I graduated in 2018, and my brother in 2020. Before that, we attended Magnolia Junior High, Walnut Avenue Elementary School, and El Rancho Elementary School before it shut down. After graduating from Chino Valley Unified School District, I earned my bachelor's degree in liberal studies with an emphasis in childhood development. my multiple subject teaching credential, and my master in education. My relationship with Chino Valley did not end when I graduated from high school. I also student taught at this district, and I currently tutor here today. Chino Valley taught me integrity, and as an aspiring teacher, I've been able to give back to the same community that shaped me. But I also know that firsthand, the needs of our immigrant families are not being recognized or addressed. One of your core values is we provide excellent service to all students. When students come to school afraid that their families may be torn apart with no plan for safety or support, that value is not being met. Students feel the message when the district does not acknowledge their community's needs, and it harms the school climate. At a time when families are facing fears and uncertainties, schools should provide equitable support. That begins with listening to the teachers who work closely with students every day. This is why supporting ACT's pro-immigration policies and not undermining AB 495 is so important. When I was 17 and I chose to major in education,
Sarah P. on action item 2A1.
Good evening. I'm speaking for the Equity and Human Rights Chair of Associated Chino Teachers. I want to address the proposed resolution targeting Assembly Bill 495, the Family Preparedness Plan Act of 2025. This resolution is based on a misunderstanding of the bill. AB 495 does not override parental rights, remove children from their homes, or hand minors over to outside organizations. It simply allows parents, especially those vulnerable to immigration detention, to pre-designate a trusted adult who can care for their child temporarily so the child can stay in their home, their school, and their community. These situations are real. Families in our district live with the fear that a parent could be taken during routine drop-off, leaving their child without a plan. AB 495 prevents those children from being sent into foster care because of a temporary crisis. The resolution claims the bill is filled with loopholes, but the bill clearly states that the courts may appoint a parent and a parent-chosen guardian only when a parent will be temporarily unavailable due to an immigration-related action. There is no hidden agenda, just a safeguard for family stability. Meanwhile, the board has remained silent about real trauma in our community. Just 3 weeks ago, a father of a U.S. citizen kindergartner in our district was shot by ICE. Tonight, I'm asking you to set aside politics. This resolution spreads fear. AB 495 supports families. Please reject political theater and stand with our students and their families. Thank you.
Sarah Palmer on an information item.
You said the non-agenda item?
No, this is the information. You already spoke on a non-agenda. When you spoke for someone else, you gave up your time.
Okay. All right. I am reading this on behalf of the Equity and Human Rights Chair of the Associated Chino Teachers Union, Natalie Cooney. I speak as the child of immigrants, my mother fleeing the Cuban regime and my father escaping civil war and persecution for being Christian. Their experiences taught me that safety, dignity, and the ability to learn without fear are basic human rights. That is why we urge the board to adopt Board Policy 5145.14, the Commitment to Safe and Welcoming Schools Policy, already working in Fullerton Unified. The California Healthy Kids Survey shows a serious concern. Nearly a quarter of our students report emotional distress, almost a third report chronic sadness or hopelessness, and over a third say they do not feel safe at school. These are real children walking into classrooms afraid. This policy strengthens protections for all students, regardless of race, gender, religion, disability, sexual orientation, or immigration status. And with growing concerns about immigration officers near campuses, we must protect students' records, family privacy, and community trust. Schools must be places of learning, not fear. Safe schools are not political, they are essential. I request this policy to be placed on the next agenda as an action item and approved. Our students deserve nothing less. Thank you.
Amanda Swagger on an information item.
Good evening, board again. I'll keep my comments short. I'm talking on the heels of the same information item discussed with ACT. I wanted to clarify a couple of things here. The statement made for a potential action item on the future agenda talks about our ability to support our students in a tough time with immigration. The reality is immigration is a hot button topic in our society today. Whether it's immigration officers standing outside of schools, going to supermarkets, going to different centers across the state. I want to make something clear for everyone in the audience that you already know. We can't just release information about students' immigration status. It must go through a court order. None of this is gonna change that. If they want to know information about a student, they can get a court order from a judge to release that information. It also doesn't stop immigration from coming outside of our schools to stop and question people from leaving. It's important for us to support our students in these tough times. But the reality is this is just a statement of what we should already be doing, supporting our kids everywhere we go. Thank you.
Gloria Ciccarelli on a non-agenda item.
Are you going to restart that? I just got here. A couple. Oh.
1 second. Look, let me stop it for a second. If you guys are not on the line, your time's gonna start. We've said it 3 times, so if your name's on the board, I see Gloria, Oscar, Marisol, please line up, otherwise you're gonna start losing your time. We don't want that to happen.
A couple things that happened since the last meeting. That same racist counselor at Chino Hills High has outed herself again and still has her job and access to kids. After the community was reminded of her racism and xenophobia, others reiterated this to her principal, and he ignored it again. You have been extremely vocal about your aggressive campaign against the LGBTQIA+ students, staff, and representation. But what you've been less loud on, but equally aggressive about, is the silencing of Black voices. This district needs to start coming first. Our LGBTQIA+, Black, POC, and otherwise marginalized families need to start coming first. You need to stop using HR like a weapon against those you don't agree with while simultaneously terrorizing others into silence whenever they see injustice. However, regardless of your war on marginalized communities, CVUSD needs to start coming first. If you're going to masquerade yourself as a school board, then it's high time you started acting like it. And one more thing. Congrats to Ms. Shaw and the other Daughters of the Confederacy. Through your continued efforts at the national level, the government has begun to tear apart and dismantle public education at the national level. Through the efforts of you and your sisters in Christ in the Daughters of the Confederacy, families living in states like Florida who just adopted the Heritage Foundation curriculum have no recourse or higher body to bring their grievances to, since the departments that education is being transferred to are just as anti-public ed as this government is, so congrats. Oh, and for those confused on what the Daughters of the Confederacy are, when you Google it and see the parallels to this right-wing extremist org Shaw belongs to and supports in the groups I mentioned, you'll see not only why what I said is not only correct, but exactly why anti-public ed people like Shaw don't want you to know who those groups are. Thank you.
Oscar on a non-agenda item.
The Latino community, then you should not be able to benefit from the. You refuse to protect the Latino community, then you should not be able
Guys,
to
I'm
benefit
gonna have to
from
have
the
everybody
community.
but the speaker
Stay away from
sit
our
down, I'm
food
sorry.
and go back
It's
to your
part of our rules.
unseasoned chicken.
Please
Instead
have
of
a seat.
focusing on
Thank you.
actual issues, you're obsessed with pushing your Christian nationalist agenda, and you refuse to protect the Latino community.
So that right there, that's a teacher named Blanca Cortez. And she came up on the last time and accused President Shaw of being a racist. She accused the whole board of being a racist. She even said that go eat your unseasoned chicken, right? And as a community of Latinos, we know that you fought for the families, you protected kids, you took porn out of schools, you're making sure that parental rights are acknowledged and accepted. You know, you protect our kids. So you've done more to protect children than anybody else that I've seen in any district. So we applaud you, we thank you, and our community loves you. And just for that, we already had tacos delivered to you guys. You guys get tacos after, right? We love you guys. And I'm going to tell you, these people that come up here that are teachers and these people that are a bunch of gaslighters, you know, they need the Lord, they need Jesus. They're angry, they're bitter, and we know what you're doing. We love you guys, and we're praying for you, and we support you. Don't we support her? We love them, and we have kids. And I'm telling you right now, there's more for you. The Bible says there's more for you than against you. So all these haters back here, you know, they're bitter. They need to go to their husbands or their wives or whatever. Pray for them. But I'm telling you right now, the community loves you, and they love what you're doing. Keep on doing it. We're praying for you, and we support you, Mrs. Shaw, Chino board. We love you. God bless you. Enjoy your tacos. All right. I'm going to pray one more time. Enjoy your tacos. God bless you. Bye.
Marisol de Paula, information item.
Good evening, Chino community. I stand before you today not only as an educator, a parent, but as a proud daughter of two immigrant parents. My father came to this country at the age of 13 alongside his 16-year-old brother. They worked in the fields as a part of the Bracero movement, traveling from Mexico and California to support their family. My mother arrived at the age of 5 with her 3 sisters. My grandmother, a single mom, worked tirelessly picking crops and cleaning houses to give her children a better life. These stories are not unique to my family. They are the stories of our community, of the people who come here seeking opportunity, safety, and hope. These are the same people who are now being kidnapped, dragged off the streets, and sent to detention centers. These are the paleteros who sell you ice cream, the jardineros who clean your lawns, the abuelitas who lovingly make tamales for you for your Christmas celebrations. These are the students' families, their mamás, papás, their tíos and tías, their abuelos. These actions have created a climate of fear and uncertainty, deeply affecting the mental health of our children. The raids have triggered anxiety, depression, and trauma, especially amongst families terrified of separation. I've seen elementary school students carrying their birth certificates and emergency contacts in their backpacks. I've spoken to parents who are too afraid to let their children attend field trips, feeling they might be detained. Every surrounding district has spoken out against the ICE raids. When the first ICE raids occurred, the superintendent of Corona sent out a letter reaffirming their commitment to making every child feel safe, supported, and valued, regardless of their immigration status. Other districts quickly followed and have adopted similar policies. But from Chino, silence. So tonight I ask my fellow educators who are now in leadership positions to remember your why. Why did you choose this profession? Because we as a district have the power to lead with compassion, with understanding, and with a commitment to safety and success of every child in our care. Let that always be our why. Let us not be remembered for our silence in moments that demand courage. Let us be remembered now for choosing humanity.
Jackie Cortez on a non-agenda item.
Don't start my time, I have a question. Before I begin, I want to know if I can follow up my English speech with Spanish because due to the board not providing simultaneous translation services, AB 1787 under the Brown Act states that any speaker giving a speech in another language with the lack of translation services must be given the same amount of time to give the speech in both English and the other language. So I want to ask if you're going to allow me to do that without interruption.
It's usually if the speaker is a foreign tongue, and then they have someone next to them that is translating it from that foreign tongue into English. Mm-hmm.
So I can only do it in one of the two languages? So what if somebody interprets for me? Gladius, do you want to come? I have both. Yeah. Ms. Shaw continues to distract from the real issues by attacking the teacher union. While she calls us groomers, she is the one asking students to bring recording devices to school through a post she shared. Sonja, recording devices are explicitly prohibited in the student handbook. This is a clear violation of privacy. You're really disgusting, because can you imagine students with recording devices in the bathroom or in the locker room? So weird. But what else would I expect from someone who belongs to the GOP, the guardians of pedophiles? You have remained silent when it comes to an actual pedophile, Officer Solano, who you were quoted in an LA Times article as having bonded with. We all know you are never at a loss for posting, so why have you remained silent on this very serious topic? You have no problem sharing your home-cooked meals made with love, but still no seasoning in sight. You do not protect our students. And as for another post you shared saying that you fixed the issue of students having to take remedial math classes in college, what data are you using to back this up? Are you tracking kids in college? And why are you trying to take credit for the hard work of my fellow math teachers? You do not teach math, so you are not the reason why math scores went up. Please cite what resolution you have passed to back up your statement, because otherwise you're just blowing snow. I want you to state at least one resolution that you have passed that has benefited students and our staff in some way. What have you done for the special ed community? What have you done about our outdated textbooks? What have you done for safety outside of your fabricated fear-mongering? You have done nothing for our district. While teachers give, you take. While we love, you hate. And you continue to violate our working conditions, and we will continue to use the law to fight back. Play stupid games and lose lawsuits.
Marisol de Paulo, action item 2A1.
Your time's up. You were supposed to speak in Spanish. She was supposed to translate in English. Next speaker, please.
Marisol de Paulo, action item 2A1.
Present the facts on Assembly Bill 495, the Family Unity and Preparedness Act. It's designed to protect children during emergencies like the ICE raids affecting our communities. This law expands the use of caregiver's authorization affidavit, allowing trusted adults to make essential educational and medical decisions when parents are unavailable. This ensures children receive care without delays and reflects our commitment to safeguarding their rights and safety. Recent events calls attention to this urgency. Just weeks ago, a ICE raid near our Ontario schools left families terrified. One of our Dickey's students' fathers was shot trying to help a family that had been taken inhumanely by ICE officials. AB 495 exists for moments like this, to keep our students supported and secure when the world is turned upside down for them. Contrary to current propaganda, AB 495 does not increase the risk of child trafficking or child abduction. This is simply false. Let's think about this as a rational, educated adult for a minute. Let's assume Mike Johnson shows up to pick up Susie Q for the sake of trafficking her. First of all, do we really believe that schools will allow and hand over a child to a random stranger? Do we believe a child would willingly go with someone they don't know? Our district has very strict protocols, ID checks. We take their pictures, there's visitor logs. We have emergency contact verification. No child has ever been released to an unknown adult, and that will not change. Supporting AB 495 should not be used as a political pawn. It is about humanity, and we need to respond with empathy, not politics. Our students are counting on us to provide a safe environment for them. Thank you.
Jackie Cortez on an information item.
Como resultado del silencio por parte de la mesa directiva y del superintendente sobre inmigración, el Comité de Derechos Humanos y Equidad de la Unión de Maestros de Chino sintió la necesidad de solicitar formalmente esta póliza. Como miembro de este comité, vine a hablar sobre la importancia de esta póliza. La póliza establece que la ley de California requiere que los distritos escolares traten a todos los estudiantes por igual, incluidos los estudiantes inmigrantes que se sientan bienvenidos, y requiere que el personal del distrito escolar respete los derechos de todos los estudiantes. Código de Educación, secciones 202, 220.
It's Jackie signed up to speak. Is she going to speak in Spanish and then you're translating in English? Because that's the way it was supposed to work. Don't know where the confusion is. You didn't sign up to speak, so.
La mesa directiva y del superintendente sobre inmigración, el Comité de Derechos Humanos y Equidad de la Unión de Maestros de Chino sintió la necesidad de solicitar formalmente esta póliza. Como miembro de este comité, vine a hablar sobre la importancia de esta póliza. La póliza establece que la ley de California requiere que los distritos escolares traten a todos los estudiantes por igual, incluidos los estudiantes inmigrantes que se sientan bienvenidos, y requiere que el personal del distrito escolar respete los derechos de todos los estudiantes. Ahora bien, esto parece sentido común, pero en este distrito tenemos administradores quitando pósters de la Unión de Maestros que dicen, este es un espacio seguro para inmigrantes. ¿Cómo podemos hacer que nuestros alumnos inmigrantes se sientan seguros si no se permiten poner estos mensajes? Si se espera que yo reciba una bala por ellos, definitivamente los voy a proteger de los agentes de la migra. Esta póliza propuesta también establece que el Distrito Escolar Unificado de Chino Valley deberá proporcionar recursos, capacitación y apoyo para los estudiantes, familias y personal del distrito sobre temas que incluyen los derechos de los estudiantes. ¿Por qué no se ha compartido con las familias la póliza de la mesa directiva relacionada con inmigración? ¿Por qué nuestros personal no han sido entrenados en estas pólizas? Ese es el trabajo de Dr. Enfield. Su trabajo es proporcionar información a la comunidad y capacitar al personal. Podría aprender mucho de Darren Knowles, quien es el superintendente de Pomona. Él ha compartido recursos con las familias y ha enviado comunicados cada vez que ha ido a una redada de migra cercana. No es tan difícil ser servicial con una gran parte de nuestra comunidad.
Lisa G. on a non-agenda item.
At the last school board meeting, Ms. Shaw, you publicly accused a teacher of being a groomer and predator simply because she advises a district-approved student-led club that supports LGBTQ+ students. It was an outrageous and reckless attack that harmed her reputation and exposed her to harassment from your supporters. But you also exposed taxpayers to serious financial risk. It's my understanding that pending litigation against the district is only discussed in closed session due to reasons of confidentiality. So I'm guessing that your decision to discuss this case publicly and also name and even hold up a picture of this teacher was against the advice of the district's lawyers, if you even consulted them. It's also against the board's own policy, so there's absolutely no justification for your reckless behavior. And now that the California Teachers Association is demanding accountability, you're on social media demonizing the union again. You clearly can be discreet about ongoing cases when you want to. You've been curiously quiet about the case involving a school resource officer who was actually charged with molesting students. Oh, that's right, he's your friend. Speaking of liability, this board recently cost taxpayers another $118,000 after your so-called pro bono law firm tried to revive a failed lawsuit that would have effectively turned school board meetings into church services. And costs will keep rising because you voted to appeal that decision as well. Taxpayers should not be footing the bill for political and religious grandstanding or personal fights that drag this district into court. Our dollars should be going into classrooms, not lawyers' pockets. If this board is so intent on injecting politics and religion into school governance, then perhaps you should be paying the legal bills personally, and let taxpayers stick to funding education instead of losing legal battles. Thank you.
Case Chong on a non-agenda item.
Wow, that was heavy. My first time here. Hi, Sonja, Norm. My name is Case. I'm a Chino resident. I'm the proud father of Jamie and Kylie, watching on YouTube, elementary students at Rhodes Elementary. And I'm here simply as a father and a Chino resident and not a hater, and someone who cares deeply about our kids and the future of our schools. So I wanted to talk tonight about budgets, priorities, and missed opportunities. And it's come to my attention that this past year we spent $1.3 million on legal fees. That's more than any district that's our size. And this year we're on track to spend more than $1.5 million. And I'm sure the esteemed members of the board understand this, but I'm gonna put it into perspective for the rest of us lay people. $1.3 million could pay for 15 assistant principals to help out with ACT. It could pay for 20 full-time teachers. My wife, Jolene, she volunteers as a classroom aide, and she's seen firsthand the benefits that additional classroom resources helps or brings. 1.3 million could also start a district-wide tutoring program. We could have additional services for students that have special needs, and these services are getting more and more expensive each year. We could expand STEM programs. That includes robotics, engineering, coding. These are programs that other districts already have and that our students are missing out on. These are districts that are going to create students that are competitors in the job market and at colleges for the students in our district. We could have district-wide upgrades to laptops, tablets, and classroom technology, so our kids are learning on the latest devices. I guess, thanks for your time.
Shara or Maury on a non-agenda item.
Hi again. I made sure to save a non-agenda item. I figured there'd be some theatrics and unethical practices tonight, and boy was I right. When Mr. Avila came up and you waited quite a few seconds, and there goes Ms. Shaw in a great cowardly fashion. Way to chair this meeting. Anyways, I just wanted to talk and echo what Kay said. This board is spending way too much money on lawsuits, and as a taxpayer in this district, as an alum in this district, it's quite embarrassing. I want my money to go towards education. And all of this, or not all of it, some lawsuits are just part of doing business, I recognize that. But in healthcare, we talk about preventative measures, working upstream to avoid the costs of healthcare later on. This board could prevent a lot of the lawsuits done through unethical behavior of these board members by having legal counsel in the room. In fact, legal counsel used to sit in the room until Ms. Shaw, you took over, and I don't know why. Maybe you could explain why we no longer have legal counsel in this room to consult. The conversation with Ms. Cortez about translation instead of going to Pat, which last time I checked, she didn't have a law degree, could have just been addressed by a lawyer having an educational background. So I just want to ask this board to address in their board comment tonight why there is no legal counsel in this room. Why are we not using and stewarding our taxpayer dollars in an ethical way to avoid lawsuits that are not part of doing business but are part of these unethical practices? And Mr. Smith, I want to follow up on a conversation we had during the interview day prior to you joining this board about your thoughts on bullying. I asked if you thought your wife was a bully, and your response there was not a no, but that she grew up with brothers. So is that your take on bullying, that anyone that grows up with brothers is a bully? Because I just wanted to circle back on that. Anyways, wishing everyone a happy Thanksgiving, and thank you for the time.
Brown Pride 91 on a non-agenda item. Brown Pride 91. Oscar on action item 2A1.
Maybe I'll take brown pride too. Could I take that one? I'm brown. I got pride. Right? You know? The board loves brown pride, so that's good. Okay, I guess on the 2A1, I'm a yes. I support Mr. Shaw on the board. 84 and 5, something that we didn't agree with, we didn't like, you know. And I think the thing is, having loose laws that conflict with the district policy, I think it's kind of dangerous for the children. And I know that we say that, you know, the kids will not go with strangers, but there's a lot of kids that are missing right now. There's kids that are being trafficked daily in America. I mean, you could literally go down Pomona and there's a bunch of kids runaways and stuff. You know, there's a lot of kids that are being trafficked. So we want to make sure that we have those structures that are set up that are safer, these safeguards, you know, that will make sure that nobody will be able to pick up a child. Even if somebody is say they're picked up by ICE or whatever, we want to make sure that that child is not picked up by a stranger. Because we know a lot of people that come in across the border that are illegal. You know, some of them might come in and there's a lot of things that happen in there. So maybe somebody that knows that the person is missing, they'll try to pick up the kid or the child or whatever, you know, and use them to pay off some bills and stuff, you know. So there's a lot of kids that are being trafficked right now to pay off coyotes, pay off illegal cartels that traffic kids. So I would say having safeguards is good, you know. Making sure the kids don't go with strangers is good. Having the authorities in there is good. So on another note, people talk about this district not being proper, not being good enough. Our district ranks in the platinum level. I didn't know how good this is, but literally I went to I guess it's called the Innovative and Engagement Program. I went to a meeting last week by accident. I just walked into a meeting. Dr. Enfield was there, you know, walked in. And do you guys know that Chino has the most platinum schools out of all San Bernardino? All San Bernardino. We're number 1 in the entire county. So be proud of that. Thank you.
Jason, on a non-agenda item. Jason. Damon Trentis, on a non-agenda item.
Good evening, CVUSD board. There is a significant student presence for an AP Gov assignment. I hence would like to underscore the fact that this CVUSD board has not worked in the interest of students. This board has passed policies against safe spaces, from taking down a placard that said Todos los estudiantes, which means for all students, to their bans on safe space placards, attacks on GSA clubs, pride flag bans, must I name more? They've executed the erosion of these student safe spaces. This board, prioritizing politics over our education, has also passed a book ban policy that lets them, instead of the librarians, ban books. And lastly, the board keeps passing policies that try to supersede state law. Over 1.3 million spent on lawsuits instead of on our education last year, by the way. Instead, they could have worked with the Associated Chino Teachers Union on compromises. So, school board, I urge you to recognize the input of students, to be receptive to the ones directly impacted by your policy. Seeing the board's involvement in political theatrics, it's unlikely this demand will be considered, but this lack of student representation should serve to highlight the need to regard student voices, the importance of working with teachers that work close to us students, and the failures of this school board to focus on our education. I express appreciation to all the teachers that have supported activism and to the Associated Chino Teachers Union for being the one to consider youth voices. Thank you.
The final speaker is unseasoned chick and non-agenda item.
Can I take that one?
No further speakers.
Thanks, Scott. Okay, thank you to all of our speakers. We appreciate you. And now we're on to changes and deletions. Pat, are there any changes and or deletions?
The following changes or deletions are on the agenda. Item 3C1, delete student expulsion case 2526-08 and delete page 37. And item 3D5, change orders and notices of completion for CUPCA projects. Page 61, delete CUPCA project CC2025-69 and delete fiscal impact to Fund 25 on page 62. There are no further changes or deletions.
Thank you. We're now on to action items. Item 2A1, Resolution 2025-2026-22 to safeguard every child and protect students from unauthorized release and preserve parental authority under AB 495. Board President Shaw recommends the Board of Education adopt Resolution 2025-2026-2022 to safeguard every child and protect students from unauthorized release and preserve parental authority under AB 495. May I have a motion? Thank you, Mr. Na, and a second by Mr. Cruz. Thank you. Any comments, questions, or discussions? Mr.
Okay. So AB 495 applies to all students. So no background check, no check-in identification, or court order. So Dr. Enfield, let's say a scenario. Let's say mom and dad, U.S. citizen, goes on a vacation, comes back Monday evening. The babysitter they've known the babysitter for 3 months. Things are doing fine. The babysitter downloads a family preparedness plan affidavit. The babysitter says he or she's a close family friend, even related to the family. Signs it under penalty of perjury. No parent signature, no notarization, no witnesses needed, no court order. On Monday, this babysitter pulls the kid out from the school, buys tickets at a plane, and goes to another state. And all this was a legal release. Here at our school district, this will never be allowed for any child, even if parents were deported, because we will need a court order, because that scenario, which is a very, most likely this would never occur, but this was poorly planned, AB 495. And we will never abide with this. This was a real, not planned out. I don't know what these people are thinking. So I will vote the right way, what parents really want. So thank you.
Thank you, Cruz. I'm glad you brought up a scenario, but unfortunately, scenarios are real life, and they were real concerns, and Sacramento unfortunately did not listen to the concerns of attorneys, parents, and people who were sending letters on behalf of the loopholes that 495 had left open. And unfortunately, it did leave our kids at risk. We saw that. We saw the writing on the wall. No one is preventing proper release of a student. We're just not going to hand the kids over to anybody, because we did call this the predator's dream bill, the kidnapping dream bill. And unfortunately, it allows people to take other people's kids with just a signed document that no court has to authorize. There's no notary. And that is reckless. That is completely reckless. Look, we are doing and being proactive to allow parents to choose who they would want to release their child to. Every parent in our district puts their emergency contacts in there. And if they come with an affidavit and it's verified by the parents, then great. Get it signed, get it notarized, have the court order it, whatever it may be, but we're not just gonna let it go because someone signs a piece of paper. Again, that would be reckless of us. And we're not going to put kids in risk if we see that they're at risk. That's insane. So we are coming up with proactive measures for the next school year, but in the meantime, we are making sure that our kids are safe here. And again, there is emergency contact. So why would a parent put emergency contact if they're not going to be able to take that child in the event of emergency? We as parents identify, again, who we trust to take our children. Sacramento, I thought it was really, really concerning that they said if districts want to put safeguards, they may. Like, what the hell is that? If they want to put safeguards, like, why didn't they just put that into law when everybody was screaming about the loopholes that allow kids to be pretty much kidnapped and trafficked after that? So apparently they don't care, but we do, and we're going to continue to care, and we're going to continue to double down when they double down on putting our kids at risk. So that's why I brought this forward. I'm glad that our staff was already being proactive and working on things to make sure our kids are safe. So again, I just want to put clarification out there that this is just safeguards put in place to make sure every child is safe. And Mr. Na, I see now that you want to make a comment. I'll key you in. Go ahead.
Yes, each of our 23,000 students is our children. We must keep them safe, and it is our duty to protect them. I love pets, I mean, people do, but these are human beings and our children. We cannot have strangers take away our children without our parental permission, period. We must stand for the truth, and family cannot be broken. We must do everything to revisit this poorly written Prop 495. Meanwhile, we must pass this resolution and policy to protect our kids. It's just a common sense. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Na. Seeing that there's no other comments. Oh, that's me. You're good? Okay. Okay, seeing that there's no other comments, I will go ahead and ask the board members to please register your vote. And in the meantime, preferential. Thank you. Awesome. And the motion passes with a vote of 5-0, with preferential voting yes. Okay, the next item is item 2B1, public notice and hearing regarding the Associated Chino Teachers Initial Bargaining Proposal to the Chino Valley Unified School District for a reopener to the collective bargaining agreement effective July 1st, 2026. It recommends that the Board of Education give public notice and conduct a public hearing regarding the Associated Chino Teachers Initial Bargaining Proposal to the Chino Valley Unified School District for a reopener to collective bargaining agreement effective July 1st, 2026. I now give a public notice and open the hearing at 7:20 p.m. Pat, are there any speakers? Thank you. I now close the public hearing at 7:20 p.m. That concludes action items. Moving on to consent, board members, if you have an item to pull, please indicate on your monitor. Mr. Smith?
I'd like to pull 3.c.1, page 36, 2526-11.
11?
11.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. For the remainder of the consent items, may I have a motion, please? Thank you, Mr. Na, and a second, please. Thank you, Mr. Cervantes. Board members, please register your vote. Preferential. Thank you. And the motion passes with a vote of 5-0. And now we'll go back to item 3C1, item 25-26-11. And can I have a motion, please? Thank you, Mr. Smith. And a second, Mr. Na. Board members, please register your vote. Thank you. And the motion, preferential? No. Oh, we don't have to do it for preferential. The motion passes with a vote of 4-1 with Mr. Smith voting no. And we're now on to information items. Are there any comments or questions, board members? Seeing that there is none, we're now on to board communications, board member communications. Mr. Smith. Do you want to?
I'd actually like to start where we started this with the staff report. It was pretty interesting, the focus on the data that was presented, and the focus was on essential standards, which was nice. That's what we want. We want essential standards in our schools. We get accused of, politics and trying to push some agendas on our kids, but who's doing this? Who's doing the agenda on our kids? We want the essential standards. Do we really want to have, if you think about the flag, they call it, we get all this hyperbolic statements being made, like flag bans and book bans and things like that, when really, if you look at what these things represent a political, and not just political, I mean, if you look at the algorithm, or the acronym, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex, asexual, plus. And the plus means a whole host of other things. All these things are centered around, sexuality, really. So when we're being the ones that are accused of pushing some sort of agenda, who's the one? If you were to step outside and try to look at this objectively, who are the ones pushing an agenda? When you hear things like inclusivity, is that really what you're asking? Because we are inclusive to all students. All students are welcome and safe in our schools. And we really honestly, deep down, believe that. We don't think that specific groups or students need to have, specific special privileges called out. So what they're asking is not necessarily inclusivity, but exclusivity. They want exclusivity for specific groups that many times infringe on the rights of other groups. So if you just try to step outside and look at what side is pushing an agenda and what side really wants, you know, the essential standards. That's what we want. We want essential standards. We want safe schools for all of our students. All students are included. No one needs to be specifically labeled or called out. All of our students are treated equally. So with that, I was able to attend some awesome events. As Phoenix pointed out, Chino Hills High football is doing fantastic. I personally witnessed a couple games. The game against Miracost was amazing. We had Azari Warren ran back 2 kickoffs. There was only 1 punt the entire game. Just amazing. The game against Upland that went into overtime, fantastic. So tomorrow night, Chino Hills High, 7 o'clock, playoff game. It's going to be against Pacifica, who's 12-0. So we got to dig deep and show support for our kids. I was able to attend the Harmony in the Hills and really witness a fantastic amount of work that's being put into our music and color guard programs. Thank you, Dr. B, for hosting both the Harmony in the Hills and the district showcase that went on last night. These kids pour their hearts in these programs. It's amazing. The staff is amazing, how much work they put into this. You know, I have skin in the game. I have a child that's in this, so I'm there often, and I see the amount of dedication that is really poured into these programs, and it's fantastic. So please feel free to show up to these events. There's another one. Where did that go? One of my favorite people, Mrs. Rutherford. So she does the both the choir at Chino Hills High and Townsend. She runs back and forth, just an amazing, hardworking woman. You could see when she puts on these events at the end of the day that she's been just working to the bone all day long. Just an amazing person. There is an event coming up on December 2nd and 3rd at Chino Hills High School between 5:30 and 5:45 p.m. Please go support our kids and our amazing staff. Also, I was able to attend the Parks and Recreation meeting, and they shared a fantastic app. So please feel free to go download the Chino Hills app. It'll show you where all of our amazing parks are, and it'll show you the trails, and you'll be able to take a nice walk, take a dog, everything like that. This is what we'd like to get to, right? This is the discussions that we'd like to have. Essential standards, and where we get to share the great things that our students and staff are doing. So thank you very much, and happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Smith. And Mr. Na, do you want to press the button? Thank you.
Yeah, I would like to thank especially our teachers and students. It used to be, when we talk about school districts, it used to be a Irvine Unified School District in Orange County that were very well known. But nowadays, many are talking about Chino Valley Unified just because of our teachers, awesome teachers, and awesome students in the district. So thank you. Thank you. And also, I think Sonja and Shaun used to thank some of our audiences who keep mentioning your name, because your name is getting out there, even in Orange County. So I think through this meeting, people are watching the meetings, and as times went by, your name's gotten more known because your name's being more mentioned. So thank you for everyone for attending our meeting here and having concerns over our education. And also, I'd like to thank our new board member, Mr. Shaun Smith. Not only he's a great parent who has a child in Chino Hills High School, which I have found out today, but he's visiting many schools and learning quickly about our school district, about our teachers, and about our staff members and students. So what an awesome asset that just came out nowhere for our school district. So thank you, Mr. Smith. Just really proud of you. In such a short time, he's been working very, very hard to serve our students. Thank you. Also, I got this letter from ACT and CSA. Talks about Thanksgiving and food and toy drive. Yes, Thanksgiving is coming quick, in a week. We need to find people to thank for. Yes, it could be your parents, it could be your teachers, and also, yes, it could be your own children. But let's really thank them from our heart, because the today will never come back. Today will never come back. So when we thank somebody, we need to do it today. And just being in school district, same school district for all these years, like Mr. L. Bennett, who's about to move on to another place. We have so many wonderful people who have served and will serve our students in daily basis throughout good times and sometimes not a good times. But we need to find somebody that we can thank for, who have touched our lives and touched our young souls. And I'd like to ask, lastly, Dr. Enfield, we had a teacher from Chino High School about resurrecting Saturday schools for some of the problem children, and see if that would be possible through our staffs and meetings. And that would be my comment for tonight. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Na. Mr. Cruz? Wait. Push it. Hold on. There you go.
On February 1st, 2025, we have the 5K Rush for Run. So that's a great event. And I'll just say this, my mother was sponsored to come to this country, and my dad and his brothers, they were veterans of this great country. I am American first, putting the interest of the United States, our children. That is my priority. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cruz. Mr. Cervantes?
Hey, good evening, everybody. Thank you all for being here. And again, like always, appreciate your comments. And Dr. Freed, great report today, just getting that information. That's why we're here. We definitely want to set the tone on how our education should go. We want to be the best in education. We want to prioritize reading, writing, math, the basics, and of course the trades and all those kind of things, and being the best or striving to be the best does come with some consequences, and then unfortunately, when you stand for righteousness and you do what's right, sometimes you're going to get pushback. But guess what? Last I checked, none of us up here are cowards, and we're not afraid of pushback and lawsuits. Unfortunately, they happen. But let me tell you what, making the right decision, we don't go, oh man, what should we do here? We might get sued. Should we not do the right thing? I don't think so. That doesn't happen. It's pretty simple. Can two people take a walk together? Can two people walk together and not agree on the direction? I don't think so. You'd be going in circles. That doesn't happen up here. We don't have to sit here and wonder what we're going to do. We know what the right thing to do is, and we just do it. And if that gets pushback, it gets pushback. None of us are going to ever change that. That's a fact. So we appreciate it. Matter of fact, you're right to come up here and disagree and say what you want. I'll fight to defend that every single day. But I guess what? It goes both ways, and we get a right to say and do what we're gonna do, what's right. And sometimes that's gonna get pushed back, like I said. But that's okay, that's how this works. But we're not gonna come up here and say anything negative. You know what? I appreciate your feedback. But you know what? And I'm thankful for it. Matter of fact, let's talk about that a little bit. Coming up on Thanksgiving week, I think I'd be remiss not to talk about all the great things that I'm thankful for and grateful for. Matter of fact, we talk about all the work we have to do, like there's a lot of things to do. We don't have to do anything, we get to do these things. We have breath in our lungs, and we have the ability by God's grace to be able to stand for righteousness, to do what's right, to stand up for our parents and our students. That's what we're called to do. And it's an honor and privilege to do it. And I'm thankful for the support. Talk to so many constituents all the time. And teachers, even, we're told that teachers don't support some of the things we do. I've yet to hear that, honestly, one-on-one. I get emails, I get calls, I talk to people all the time because I'm constantly out and about in our community. I've been part of this community for 35 plus years. So it's an honor to be able to do that. I'm thankful and grateful for those things. I'm grateful and thankful for my family, for all of you out here, our wonderful superintendent cabinet and this board that I get to serve with. I really appreciate it, and I want to wish you guys the very best. And take some time to reflect on all the things that you're thankful for, because you'll find out, if you write a little list, you'll see that there's so many things that you're thankful and grateful for than you actually might complain about. And you'll see that, you know what, that stuff is nothing compared to what you're blessed with. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Mr. Cervantes, Dr. Enfield?
Mr. Cervantes, I'm going to jump on your theme here. As we move into Thanksgiving, as the superintendent of the district, I'm extremely thankful for all the support staff that we have in this district and the work that they do across our district. I mean, just looking here tonight, we got a number of our security guards, our classified staff here. In the back, we have our technology people who make all of this run up here, but that's just a small sample of what goes on every day across our district. And so the staff across our district is absolutely wonderful, and it makes it a great district. Tonight, we had a presentation on our scores of our essential standards. That's the one thing as a superintendent, that's one of my goals. High academics. Is it where I want it to be? Absolutely not. I'm always pushing the staff, my staff being my cabinet, we gotta get better, we gotta get better. But again, when you look at this is the hardest thing to do in education is raising instructions and raising test scores. And we do that through the essential standards. 1965, Title I was started to close the gap in underperforming students. And the gap has gotten wider. The gap has gotten wider. 60 years later, it's still wider than it was 60 years ago. But when you look at our district, we're doing that. In today's presentation, if you look at our scores, they can continue to go up. Our scores are continuing to go up, and it tells you our teachers are doing a phenomenal job across this district. The work that they do and the commitment that they do to our essential standards and that work, because they want our kids to succeed. And we see that in the work that they do day in and day out across this district. And so that was a testament to the great work that our teachers do here. Great support staff, great teachers. And then when I look at our principals, I'm grateful, not only our principals, our assistant principals, our school administration, they do a phenomenal job. As a superintendent, I wouldn't want any other group of principals in the United States. These people do a phenomenal job leading their schools. And so as a superintendent, I'm extremely proud of that. I know Oscar, I saw him at a celebration for PBIS, our positive behavioral interventions and support. Every single school in our district is platinum. That's huge. If you understand the systems work that goes in to make that happen, if it was simple, every district in our county would be there. But we were the only district that had every single school at the platinum level. And that took like a decade of work of doing to get to that. And so again, that goes to all the people, counselors that work with our kids and all the support that we have across our district to make the school sites a safe place for our students to come there and to learn and be safe there. And again, I'm extremely grateful for the work that we all do collectively across this district to make that happen day in and day out. And so with that, that's what I'm thankful for going into this holiday. And I'd like to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Dr. Enfield, and I'm glad you pointed those things out. It's really hard in California to move a district, and you guys are doing a pretty awesome job, I have to say, and I'm very proud of our district across the board for just pushing through and being relentless at getting the results and giving children the tools that they need. And, you know, with California's reckless spending on education, it's $130 billion a year. And only 47% of our kids can read, write, and do math at grade level. And that's embarrassing, but it also shows that there's a lot of money and we don't know where it's going. And unfortunately, yeah, we did have to, you know, make sure that when APs were promoted up to principals or whatever, we had to hold those positions so we didn't lay off people, especially during the holidays. Unfortunately, all around California, you see tons of people losing their jobs because they're not managing the money correctly. So I appreciate that. But more importantly, I want to tell you guys, thank you for always looking for a way to put those things back in without taking away from something else and not getting us into grants and things that we don't need to be that are tied into horrible things. I can only say thank you very, very much from the bottom of my heart because I know the plans behind the scenes. I know what's going on. We meet all the time. We talk pretty much almost daily, and I see your guys' heart in it. So thank you for that. I am very grateful to be here. I will say there's a couple things I want to go over, and I think it's perfect because our students are here, and you know, unfortunately, I heard a lot of people with ICE and immigration. I think, if anything, there's activists in the classroom that aren't being teachers by not allowing children to know that they're safe. They know the laws, they know the rules, and how dare you let a kid go falsely under the impression they're going to be ripped out of our schools. Dr. Enfield, will you just clarify for everybody once again, because we've done it 1,000 times, about ICE coming onto campuses? I mean, can you just put that on record again, please?
Yeah, if ICE was to come onto our campus, everybody has a right to enter the office of a school site. That's all they can enter, is the office of the school site. And at that point, they're not to come onto our campuses, unless there was a court order that required us to do that. But, and again, at that point, my administration knows to contact my cabinet, me, whoever on our cabinet. We'll be down there and we'll work with our attorneys to ensure that they have a legal right to enter our campus. And we've gone over that with our administrators multiple times. They understand that process. And so if that was to happen, that's what would happen. But again, they probably don't have a search warrant, so if they did come in, they would be in the office and then they would be escorted to leave at some point.
So that's my point. We've put that on record plenty of times. To our good teachers, please continue to allow the kids to know that they're safe on our campuses. We do everything possible. And also, don't allow them to demonize ICE agents. That is horrible. Those people are putting themselves on the front line to make sure that we're safe. It's just absolutely horrendous. That's someone's mom, dad, grandma, grandpa that are putting their life at risk. I mean, unfortunately, California and lawmakers created this chaos. They keep creating chaos. We keep telling you they're creating chaos. You need to go bark up their tree. I've been to Sacramento plenty of times for the last 6 years. It's quite embarrassing, the legislators and the narrative that they're pushing. And we're all the ones fending to protect everybody, left at city councils and school boards. And you know, our legislators are doing an awful job. I'm sorry. The majority of California legislators should be held criminally responsible for the crap they're doing. I literally saw Bonta and Thurman defy a federal judge's orders on Monday. I mean, this is what is leading our state under Newsom's guidance. It's absolutely mind-blowing. You know, CTA sent us another bullying letter. I know I heard a parent talk about frivolous money being spent on attorneys. I want to tell you, attorneys are spent for a lot of things. It could be special education, it could be this, that, the other. You have to consult with them. Unfortunately, that's the way the business works. I don't like it, but it's the way that it works. We have to be compliant. We have to consult with an attorney. We try not to. I heard somebody say that they want an attorney at our board meeting. That is an absolute waste of taxpayer dollars. Why? How about the people coming to our board meeting, including the unions, stop filing frivolous, dumb lawsuits that we have to respond to because they're filing these lawsuits? You guys all have a right to defend yourself. It's quite embarrassing again. I mean, they literally, I exposed something that was public. I had never taken anything behind the scenes, public lawsuit, public things on our what do you call it, clubs, pages. These are all public things. And if you're bringing drag queens to say something public on a kid's club, sorry, you don't like it? Then don't do it. I'm going to expose it. That's not a private thing. And if it was private, it needs to come out in the public anyways, because that needs to come out in the light. So CTA's letter was, I think, hilarious. And it's just another bullying tactic to probably set up another frivolous lawsuit. I have it in my hand. It's 3 pages. And let's just put it in perspective, because some of it says, I don't know if you guys know how this works. We definitely don't have this attitude. We're a team up here, but the superintendent reports to the board. So ultimately, the board is the superintendent's boss, and then the superintendent is the boss of the district, right? Okay, according to their letter, they want him to go back and apologize for what his boss did and put that on record. Is that what we teach our kids in the classroom? Hey, Nicole, go apologize for what Jenny did to James. I mean, come on, the logic in this letter is absolutely ridiculous. And if you don't like me exposing what you do to our children, then don't do it, plain and simple. So again, another Nancy Pelosi, but on the right. That's what I think about your letter. And I'm pissed we have to have a lawyer respond. But let's just say the last time we respond is going to be with that. And it's pretty much ripping it up and saying, go have fun somewhere where it's not here, right? Back to smarter balance. I, again, want to point out that's exactly where we should be. But unfortunately, the Department of Ed and Newsom and the legislators are wasting millions and millions and millions of dollars. I mean, I do PRAs. You know what that is? Public records request. You guys, there's a lot of people that do that in our district that cost a lot of money for us to respond because they're looking for nefarious things on me. Just go to my social media. I post everything there. You don't even need to do that and waste our staff's time. It's already all there. So everything that I put out is public. That's just a public disclaimer. I'm going to go ahead and do, I wouldn't call it a slideshow because they're screenshots. But on Monday, I attended federal court, 2 amazing, brave teachers in which they refused to hide a kid's, I don't use the word gender, identity to their parents. They refused to hide that. And of course, their district, wanted to reprimand them. We don't do that here. We believe in clarity. We believe parents have a right. 14th Amendment right is one of the longest standing rights, and parents have a right to know what's going on with their children. Any adult hiding something from a parent should be held legally responsible. But I sat there in court, and my hope in what should always be an honorable judge was restored because I heard Judge Benitez literally rip Bonta and Thurman, well, their reps, because Bonta and Thurman refused to be there even though the judge ordered them to be there. They just thought, you know what, they will just send what the deputy attorney identified himself as a bottom feeder. Your taxpayer dollars are being sent to go represent our state in court as a bottom feeder, their words. I mean, let's put that into perspective. I was the whistleblower that gave the documents showing the state is lying to the court by saying they're not pushing secret policies into the districts. You all know, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I don't remember because we're still being sued by the union for a parental notification policy. Mind you, we already went through a very long, lengthy battle with the state on that, and thank God we had a pro bono attorney on that one. But again, I saw in PRISM, that's a tax, you guys are funding that. It's a mandatory training that they're requiring our teachers to take now, and it's pushing the LGBTQ plus gender ideologies into the classroom and teaching teachers how to keep secrets. That is the truth. They pretty much are facing sanctions in court for that. If we can start with my first screenshot, I don't call it a slide, because then I would get an F, because kids make a lot better slides. The first one was taxpayer-funded activism, because that's what I'm going to show you, taxpayer-funded activism. That's what's going on here in California. The next slide shows you the PRISM Advisory Committee. Now, every single special interest group on this has nothing to do with the smarter balance, has nothing to do with driving kids in the correct way. You have Trevor's Project, which we all know if you go on to their little chats, there is some disgusting chats in there that even have like chats talking about being attracted and thinking that you're younger than you are and you're attracted to people. I mean, just horrible, gross things that I don't think any child should have access to. But remember, the legislators just legislated Trevor's Project and now has to be given on access to the back of the students' cards. I mean, that's what they're wasting your money with. But look at all these things. PTA, guys, I keep saying PTA. I've seen them in court testifying against parents and wanting to put things that do not belong in schools. Change your schools if your parents involved in the PTA to the PTOs, because then your money, a big part of your money, will not go towards activism against you, the parent. Los Angeles County of Ed, I mean, just look at all these. Take a screenshot, because these are all the organizations attacking parents' rights and trying to push things that have nothing to do with education in the classroom. Next slide just shows directly from PRISM's training. They're just so proud to, you know, expose all the, I don't say that they are this, but just go look up the definition of groomer, and if they fit it, they fit it. The shoe fits, right? Next slide. Okay. If you were to zoom in, and I will explain, all those organizations took a paycheck over and over and over with your money to create this training. Instead of training teachers and giving them all the tools to make sure our math scores are going up, our reading, making sure we have this, that, the other. No, they're paying all these special interest organizations money to develop this crazy required training for our amazing teachers, who I can guarantee at least 80 to 90% of them will not and would not want to take this. And thank God we allow religious exemptions in ours, and we did not adopt this training. We did our own, and it was very clearly not associated with any of this. We met the letter of the law, because I don't want to get another lawsuit, but we had disclaimers and everything. The next one, if I could play a video, you guys can all go. It's online. It's back online. Mind you, when I was in court, because they knew that, you know, I blew the whistle, they gave them all the information. PRISM, I don't know, for at least a few days was taken offline. In the court, the judge, Judge Benitez, literally asked Bonta's and Thurman's reps, did you take it offline because you are hiding evidence from the judge in the court? And honestly, they were stuttering so bad, I don't even know what was going on. But Tony Thurman, that's your state superintendent, he came to our meeting. He's proud of this. This is one of the things he leads. Instead of actually, again, helping districts get kids the tools, teachers the tools to help your kids with education, or even more importantly, give them the tools for things like, you know, ROP, technical career. I sit on the commission for that. It's absolutely embarrassing that our superintendent for that is 4 districts total. I call it breadcrumbs again. She tries to look for breadcrumbs to fund a program that is amazing for kids. We just had a kid, a student, he's a young adult now, 3 years into a 4-year program. He was certificated to work as in the pharmacy, right? He was certificated to help and assist in there. His own professors were asking, how did you get this and where did you get this? And he said, my school district paid for it, right? Through Baldy View. I mean, that was amazing to hear. He's going to a 4-year UC Irvine to become a pharmacist, and he's licensed and didn't pay a dime for that. He was working, and guess what? CVS is right across the street from UC Irvine. So he literally is making money while he's going to school, and we helped give him those tools. That's what we should be funding, right? Not millions of dollars into this freaking indoctrination training. Let's go to the next slide. This is just the beginning of their course. I mean, look at it, it's colorful. I do like the colors. The rainbow is God's promise, so I still love the rainbow. Next slide. Invoices. I want to show you just a couple of invoices. A lot of county board of educations in California, a few of them actually, took some money for this, and they're continuing to take money to make sure that PRISM is held up online. I mean, this is just one invoice. Look at the money, $234,000 and some change. Imagine, I just heard a parent talk about all the APs. Yeah, guess what? I would not like to respond to frivolous lawsuits and use that money for those things, right, as a board member. But then again, $234,000, and that's just one invoice. There's multiple. I did a public record request. There's thousands of pages, if anybody wants to go through them, of invoices that were spent on this ridiculous training that will last for the next 4 years. And continuously, they'll continue to pour millions of dollars into this, right? So there you go. Whoever's in San Joaquin County, I mean, hey, look, your district should be focusing on getting your test scores up, because I looked at the county test scores, and that's an embarrassing thing. Let's go to the next one. That's just another invoice showing all these special interest groups, again, collecting money on another invoice. Let's go to the next one. This is the best part. Ongoing full-time staff for PRISM. Not to make sure your kids are excelling in reading, writing, and math. But for this, they have full-time staff. We talk about top heavy in the California Department of Ed. There's proof. What is going on? I mean, I don't know. As a soccer mom, I'm looking at this and I'm getting really pissed off. Next one, just more documents showing certificated, non-certificated staff, their benefits, you know, all while we're trying to do our best, make sure every single time it comes up, we're giving teachers and staff the most we can give without breaking the bank, and they're just spending your taxpayer dollars frivolously on this prism. And I'm not talking about 1,000, 200,000. I'm talking about millions and millions of dollars. Let's go to the next one. This is one of the full-time staff members, Miss Tanya Moore. So yeah, she gets a full-time job on your tax dollars while your kids are failing at reading, writing, and math. Look, I wouldn't care if she was the one leading the charge on what we're doing in our district to get the numbers going up and make sure kids get to where they need. Let's go to the next one. This just shows, oh, look at that. They were gonna pay her a little bit less, but then decided a little bit more, and then I'm sure it went up because of inflation, because every year they get a good raise. So she's getting paid well over, if you add on all the benefits and everything, well over $150,000 to do this training a year, continuously right now. Yeah, on your dime. Let's go to the next one. Again, just showing telephone. Let's go to books and other references. One invoice just from 2022 to 2023, not even a year. It was like from October to June. I mean, common math would only say that's just a few months, but like, let's look at this. $25,000. Wouldn't that be cool if we had a program in school sites for $25,000? Oh, look at mileage. I mean, when you guys drive somewhere, you're not getting paid if you're working all the time for mileage, but they do. They compensate everything. So that 143 is way up because there's so many different perks that they get. Let's go to the next one. This one's my favorite. This is the one that kind of got me in trouble too because they were pissed off I was exposing that our taxpayer dollars sent reps to go to Pride Fest under education. This is their documents. Everything is their documents. Nothing of this is mine. Nothing is made up. Except for one screenshot, and I will tell you which one that was, and it was just reposting the federal government thing. But again, Pride Fest, San Luis Obispo, we went through this last time, but I want to just show you again, because this is just one time, one invoice, $18,000 just on Pride Fest, to send people on your taxpayer dollars to Pride Fest under the umbrella of education. Make that make sense. What is the inflection point that we say no? I'm glad Cervantes pointed it out. If we have to have a lawsuit because we do not keep secrets here, and if we do, those people are in trouble, and we do not push ideologies into the classroom, look, every classroom is safe, and if it's not, let us know, and we will correct it, right? You don't need a sign telling a kid that they're safe. If you need that, then there's something wrong with you, and you shouldn't be a teacher. Every classroom's safe. Let's go to the next one. Let's talk about what PRISM really is, in my opinion. My opinion. I'd better say that because there's another lawsuit. Sorry, Dr. Enfield. Mandatory teacher training program by the CDE pushes gender ideology into classrooms. They teach you how to push it into every single subject. I mean, it's in there. Go take, well, you can't take it, that's right, because they hide it from you. But I got the login and I definitely took it and it was definitely horrible. Keeps parents in the dark. Millions in your taxpayer dollars and counting. Full-time staff dedicated it, not focused on reading and writing math, that's for darn sure. Let's go to the next one. This just kind of shows a post that I did, and this one is my only one that isn't really from them, except the titles on these screenshots. Breaking news, you know, tonight from and this was Thomas More Society. Thank Thomas More Society for fighting the good fight to protect teachers and parents' rights. That's what they were doing. 2 teachers refused. Our teachers, they don't get in trouble if they tell. Unfortunately, we can't require a notification if your child does that, but we did find a way to still notify you, by the way. But most districts in California are told by the CDE not to tell you as the parent if your kid identifies as the opposite sex. Now, I will tell you, the judge went over and over about social transition, this, that, the other, taking the parents' rights away to get the help that they need for their child, or maybe not get the help. Whatever the parent decides, it should be up to the parent. and the school should have nothing to do with this. And he was going on to ask you guys. Vonta said 86% of these kids face suicide risks, but yet I said this before, but yet you decide you're not going to tell the parent of a kid that you're identifying as high on the suicide, spectrum, and you're not going to tell their parent? What the heck are you doing? You're literally putting these kids at risk. Let's go to the next slide, because that was funny. For a few days up until today, Prism was off online because they were hiding things. They were trying to take out links. But let's go to the next one, because this is the one that got them in big trouble, and they're facing sanctions. And I really hope that they get it, although, they have immunity to everything. This was something they were telling every district, a model policy on transgender and gender nonconforming students. Go to the next slide, please. It literally says, right here, man, this is a bad printing job. Anyways, it goes on to say and I can give you the link in the third paragraph, right above the yellow on the bottom, that you can only tell the parents if the child says so. They're telling districts that. And then they said, no, we don't have that. And then they took it offline to go take that down, right? But we had more screenshots even from their own training, not the links that they asked for. Now, the next one is the one that I literally almost vomited. Go to that one right there. So, okay, they talk about the use of pronouns and names in classrooms. Of course, they want you to confirm whatever identity the child may think they are. But more importantly, let's just read this to the right above that little blue continue button, because this is where I think should piss off every freaking person in California and the United States. They're going after kids with special needs. After class, an 8th grade special education student requests to be called Tomas, and use they, them pronouns, which differs from the name on the roster. And then, of course, their recommendations is to affirm that. Don't tell the parents. There's a kid with special needs, and now you're telling teachers to affirm that. And then you show them that, go back to the previous page, a policy that says you do not tell that parent unless the child says it's okay. This should be criminal. Nobody should be okay with this. And if you are, get the hell out of education. I am serious. Because God willing, I will keep it at more and more people are going to do the right thing and not allow this on our watch anymore. This is bad. Go to the next slide. Now, you tell me when teachers are struggling in classrooms, I hear it, they're kicked, bitten, this, that, the other. We know that because California doesn't even allow the correct discipline. You're talking about Saturday school. Heck yeah, how about picking up the trash like we used to? But guess what? California lawmakers made a lot of that illegal, right? Am I not right? I love the idea. But we have to think about it. Do we really want a lawsuit? Maybe. Okay, we'll make students do that. I don't know. We're already on the dashboard for holding kids accountable when they do the bad things because we don't want them to go through and be adults doing even worse things without even understanding there's discipline attached to it, right? But, hey, why not? Why not train teachers on kids' sexuality? I mean, that's appropriate, right? Gender identity, sex assigned at birth, telling them what that is. Like, what the heck? Is this for reals? Millions of dollars on this junk, this garbage, this literally garbage. Look at the next one. Telling teachers what queer means. Queer means weird, and now you're trying to make it good? Why are you telling a kid they're weird? They're beautiful. They were born in the right body. Boys are boys, girls are girls. God made them beautiful. You're telling them they're queer and you're pretending like that's good? Why are you telling them they're weird? And then labeling it as a good thing? What the heck is going on again? Go to the next one. I mean, look at this crap. It's all propaganda crap. Go to the next one. Why the heck does a freaking teacher need to know about aromantic, bigender, asexual, pansexual, gender fluid, agender, intersexual, two-spirit, demisexual, non-binary? Like, what the hell? This is on their training. And they give you definitions, and they want you to know this. Teachers need help and assistance, and thank you for giving them the right help and assistance and not this garbage. Literally. Go to the last one. Like, why should an adult other than the parent ever teach anything other than sexual. And if it is sexual, the parent better say it's okay with our sex ed or whatever it may be, or telling girls how their periods are and puberty and this and that. But everything else, garbage. Patricia, where is the freaking trash? Let's throw this in the garbage. Let's keep fighting it. Let's make sure it doesn't come to our district. And don't worry, I'll work on pro bono attorneys for that one too. But man, did we really come to a world where kids are failing at reading, writing, and math, and we're focused on sexual things for children and pushing them in the classroom? I think if people are okay with that, you lost your ways, and I didn't sign up for that, and I definitely don't want my taxpayer dollars putting in that, and I don't want the people up here, if they agree with that, here. That's why these people are here. Because I used to be right there, and I said, heck no, you didn't give us a seat at the table, and now we're gonna take the whole damn table and do the right thing. And if it causes us lawsuits, so be it, because at the end of the day, our kids are excelling. Stanford even put us as a recovery model since COVID. We are getting award after award because we're doing the right thing, and yes, it's hard. And yes, we do have problems just like any family, but we are united. We are on the front lines, and if anybody comes after them or any great teacher in the classroom, I will be the first one to stand in front of them. We had 2 brave teachers just last week, then I am asking for him to make sure that they come to the next board meeting. 2 brave coaches, assistant coaches, because our girls were displaced by a boy in cross country. Again, I submitted a Title IX complaint for them. This is absolutely reckless, disgusting, horrible. You're erasing the rights of these girls. This is insane. And poor boy, one day he's gonna wake up prayerfully and realize he hurt people and it was wrong because we spoke up and told him in love. Love is truth, and if you don't like it, oh well, I don't care. If my kid does something wrong and they don't like it, I'm gonna tell them the truth, set them on the correct path, and hopefully one day they become a productive adult raising kids that become productive adults in this freaking beautiful state and this beautiful nation. For everybody who's fought for us, we each attended certain different veterans things. Thank you, veterans. Thank you, law enforcement. Thank you, security. Thank you to our district. I am very grateful for our district. I am grateful for the people in here doing the right thing. I am grateful for the parents that we have to ensure that they're voting people in to do the right thing. We are the majority. We are the common sense. We are the fighters. And we are the ones that are going to go out on the stretcher if that's the only way that they find to take us out. Because I'm not going anywhere until God puts me in another position, maybe, or they put me on a stretcher because, X, Y, Z. And yes, it is very real. Death threats are very real. Getting approached at the grocery store with a man in my face, if you're raising a young man to come into a woman's face and not their official capacity as a board member, and they think that's okay, then we did a bad job. Men should never be aggressively approaching women, but that's what happens. This is the truth. People follow people. But again, we are going to continue to do the right thing. We're going to continue to listen to the problems, try to address them, give the tools and resources, not spend millions of dollars on this garbage. I am proud of you. I am grateful for you. And I am going to end this Board of Education meeting tonight in 1 Thessalonians 5:18. Give thanks in all circumstances, for this is the will for you in Christ Jesus. And with that said, at 8:08 p.m., I adjourn this Board of Education meeting.